Having the right TMS is vital in supporting freight broker growth. Partner with TIE Software to optimize your processes and compete with confidence. Get into the automation, data insights, and cash flow optimization game. Request a demo at tiesoftware.com. Welcome back to another edition of Check Call. Today we're talking all things geofencing and 3PLs. Don't forget to subscribe to Check Call, the newsletter on FreightWaves.com if you haven't already. Today we are welcoming Lucas Shore, founder and CEO of Kestrel Insights, to the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you having me. For our loyal followers, I don't have an update on the Lego F1 car, but I will get that to you soon.
Lucas was recently on Running on Ice, where he did show us the F1 car, which I personally cannot wait for the day that that's done, because I am very interested in those F1 cars. Do you think that one will blow up in a pothole like the one in Vegas did?
Oh gosh, very likely. I've got quite the similar pothole issue on my driveway. So when I go out there to play race car by myself and my wife laughs at me, I'm sure the same thing will happen. But not at least less damage and less risk for my end. But that was pretty bad.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not going to cost like a casual couple $1 million to repair. It's just, get out the Legos and get the Legos and stick them back in.
Yes, exactly. So, but yes, coming along.
All right. So for those who did not catch you on Running on Ice, can you give me some background on yourself and kind of why you started Kestrel?
Yeah, absolutely. So we do everything geofencing. That's kind of the foundation of our company. And if you do anything related to geofencing, you're listening to this, you're going to want to kind of see what we've built. We're not a new tool that takes you to a different hardware system or tracking or visibility platform. This is kind of a bolt-on that we'll talk about. And why we started it was, I told this story at TIA last year, but I had a conversation with a broker who lost $100,000 worth of dog food because of 10 feet. And what happened, it all came back to just an inaccurate geofence. And so where we got started was around a ton of situations like that. We just saw the way people were using geofencing in their existing platforms, how they were building them, how they were accessing them, what they really thought were the four walls that they had to live within when it came to geofencing. And we found just a lot better ways to automate geofencing and just bring a new level of accuracy to it. So that was kind of the catalyst for us, and how we've gone down this kind of funky little data niche, but brought a lot of value to our customers and users in this space.
I could not imagine being anywhere near the phone call that happened when they found out that they lost $100,000 worth of dog food. I think I would have disappeared and simply melted into the multiverse to just not have to come anywhere near that.
Yep, I don't know if it was. Well, I was blown away that how dog food added up to that amount, but obviously it was intriguing for us to be like, what happened? And as we've seen this just a lot with the way geofencing is today, as people look to build more automated tools, just more modern solutions for a modern supply chain, geofences are a big part of that, because they create these triggers of like, okay, you've arrived, you've departed, you've been there for X amount of time. Let's automate some of these tasks that are typically in a broker's day, whether a check call or something's going on, lining them up for their next load. And so the accuracy of that timestamp is really, really important. And so for this case with this broker, it was an auto arrival kind of sign-off sheet. So it's basically, okay, you've arrived. You can, it was like a trailer drop. And so they dropped it and they were going to leave. So the geofence said, yep, you're in the right spot. You're good. We will now authorize for you to kind of move into the next step and leave. And they were 10 feet outside of a locked gate. And so it was kind of a confusing setup where there was like a little bit of a parking area. So it looked like, oh, this looks right. Geofence says I'm here. I'm good to go. And so they were using these circles that just caught boundaries around the actual safe facility and allowed them to kind of sign off and leave. So that's exactly what we want to avoid, is these margins of error that seem minimal, but they can sting.
Also, when you say it got left outside of a locked, secured gate, all I'm imagining is like basically like the Hamburglar walking around and like, oh, there's a trailer here, let me open it and be a thief. And then they just find like this truck full of dog food. And I really kind of wonder if they were like, oh, we picked the wrong trailer here.
Yeah, they're like, please meet plasma TVs. And then it's like, well, we could probably move this, but this is going to be, we'll see what we can do. But I'm sure there was So there's an interesting flooding of the market on Facebook Marketplace for kibble. But yeah, it's just that. So that's like been the biggest thing for us is the number one use case is teams who are using circles. And so for those who think, oh, I've just got geofencing in my platform, I don't need this. There's two options that you're dealing with, like almost guaranteed across the board. We've been doing this for so long. We've seen tons of similarities in so many of these use cases, but it's type in an address, drop a circle at that point, and that's where some of these errors and accuracy come, or it's sit there and manually draw the polygon. So across the board, that's the options you have. And so we've kind of been able to automate that polygon side of things. So you're not sitting there drawing shapes on a map, but you're also not stuck with these circles that create an intimate relationship with the Hamburglar, like you mentioned there, Mary. So,
all right. So you've mentioned the circles and the polygons. Break it down. What does that look like? What is kind of that? Give us that quick little geofencing 101, just in case, not all of us like you are really cool experts in geofencing.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the most basic sense of the word, a geofence is a virtual boundary anywhere on Earth, and it's used to create or to communicate three different timestamps: arrival, departure, and time spent within that geofence. No matter what you're using it for, what nuances or buzzwords you got around it, the whole goal is to reduce risk via visibility, and that's whether you're triggering events down the road that are more accurate, or you're just gaining more accurate reports. The whole idea is just to reduce risk, and that's why people are using them and why they're so common today. Where they're most commonly used is around like origin and destination, but that's certainly expanding. Like you say, you're picking something up from point A to point B. That's what obviously origin, destination, get geofences around those. But what we've seen is teams expanding them into also kind of what's going on in between. So we've done geofences for toll roads or way stations or fuel stops or parking stops that happen in between to, again, just provide more accurate insight to what's going on. And brokers that we see, they're more and more like this command center. And so with the most accurate data you can have for what's really going on, just bolsters trust and reputation in you as a broker. And so you can truly be that command center and avoid just that deterioration of your trust and your communication to your customers. So that's kind of where we've seen ourselves kind of fitting in with some of this broker world, 3PL world.
I think that visibility component is extremely crucial to that because, every shipper wants visibility. They want to know, they want to be able to log in at any point in time and see all of their stuff and know exactly where it is and, how far it is away from delivering, just like we can, see how many stops away our Amazon delivery is. The way that e-commerce has that down so precisely, shippers want that for dry van, but it's just, infinitely harder. And but I think that, like you said, it kind of alleviates some of that headache, because if you are a command center, you don't want to sit there and have to handle all these tiny little things, or like approve that somebody got there, or say like, oh, I see that you checked in, checked out, checked in, checked out. But really it was just like you drove around the street, like you drove down the street and that circle just happened to catch you. So then you have to kind of manage those exceptions. That really slows it down. So I think that, having this extra kind of layer in there that says, okay, well, like we're not gonna mess with this. Like you drove down the street, so you checked in, but you checked out within like a minute or 2 minutes. Like that's any driver anywhere. I'll tell you, even if you have a drop trailer, you can't get in and out of a facility in 2 minutes.
You're spot on. And we're not like, this is often we're reaching out to teams, they like, oh, I've got a project for you I'm an asset-based brokerage and I've got direct access to the telematics. Like, that's not what we do. We're not looking to stick another piece of hardware on your rig. We're not looking for you to log into a different telematic or visibility platform. We're like a supercharger that you're going to bolt on to all those tools you already have. So for example, our goal of bringing this to you is through a turnkey integration somewhere where you're using geofencing today. So Project 44 is a great example. We've got a turnkey integration with them. Right now in Project 44, you can, there's 3 options for geofences: circles, manually drawn polygons, or they do have these cool kind of isochrone geofences. So you can actually put in 5-minute, 10-minute, 15-minute, and it creates these kind of crazy looking spiderweb geofences that go out. Those are your 3 options. Same issues arrive around the circular and manually drawn ones. Circular, you have accuracy issues. Manually drawn, you got to sit there and draw them. So our integration is you upload locations exactly like you're doing to Project 44. Just do the circle route. Our system will pull those addresses and patch back a Polygon geofence right to your account right there. So you don't do anything different. You've brought better data to your Project 44 tenant. So you don't have to do a single thing. We're not adding anything to your table. It's just, hey, do you want it or not? If yes, turn it on. You're done. There is no integration left. That's kind of where we're bringing the visibility improvement to your table, is not in some other solution, just in the solution you're already using today.
I absolutely love that, because I have seen so many integrations that have promised to solve all of my problems, give me everything that I want, but it never, getting to that final step of integration is always so difficult because of, one IT system that nobody realized has to talk to another, and then sometimes just gets abandoned. And 2 years later, do we ever finish that integration? I think so. I don't know. It works good enough and we kind of have it. And so I think that taking that aspect out of it and just say, like, look, you're already using this service. It's just a feature. Do you want to turn it on or not? And to me, I mean, obviously I would turn it on, because I would not want to have to be that person that hand draws on the computer every single location. And to get those basically immediately would be absolutely like chef's kiss perfect, because I get that concrete data, which, it's something that everybody's pushing for right now, is that clean data, is that data that has all of that actually is helpful and able to be manipulated into something else later on down the line. And to me, it seems like a no-brainer to just turn on that extra visibility feature. But hey, heaven forbid shippers sometimes use logic.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. And yeah, and the great thing too is people are like, oh, am I locked into your geofence? But if I want to adjust something or tweak something, again, we're putting the data in your platform. So everything you can do on, I'll just build on Project 44. So we talked about it. Everything you can do in there today is still applicable. Tweaking, adjusting. You can say, hey, Lucas, only work on these ones. And there's just so much flexibility, because we're not bringing another platform or dashboard to your table. It's just, hey, everything you're used to, let's knock out this one variable. So like, that's one of the big thing we hear too is, well, yeah, my geofence is slightly off, but maybe my tracking is slightly off. There could be all these things that are slightly off. So it's like, okay, just get rid of this variable. Like, I can guarantee to eliminate this variable for you. And you can now truly start to look at what's going on, trust in what data is saying, what the reports are telling you, so you can make those decisions. So that's kind of where we come at it from.
I like it. You're taking out all the obstacles that make that all the resistance. It's just a natural decision.
Exactly.
So when it comes to, if I'm a 3PL and I have Project 44, or I have this integration and I have decided, okay, we're going to move forward with these automated geofencings that you guys have, at what point in time, if ever, do I need to get my shippers involved in this decision? Is it just a value add service that I provide to them? Like, hey, here's a lot cleaner data. Here's a lot better data. Do with this information what you will. Like, just don't ask questions where we got it, or just, hey, we have this now. Or do I need to go to my shipper first and say, hey, this is what we're thinking about doing. Are you okay with this? Or is it just kind of like a mix of the both?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. Because when you start talking location data, or even just the word data in general, people's ears immediately perk up of, okay, privacy issues, what's going on? What do I need to sign NDAs, all this stuff. And so number one, we're not dealing with anything proprietary here. So in terms of from the data point of view, because it's like, you can go to that Walmart, you can draw that geofence yourself. Like, you can absolutely go do that. So in terms of providing that geofence, no issues there. In terms of the involvement from the shipper, great point. And something that we do offer is, hey, tell them where you got it. Not only that, you can connect our team to them. So if you have a customer that's got a bunch of locations, or even just one, we can share with them, hey, this is the geofence they're using in whatever tracking facility. If you want us to send this to you and you approve it once a quarter, once a month, whatever it is, they don't change that often, but they change enough where it's worth checking in. They can provide feedback of, yeah, this is great, this is what we want, or hey, we actually built out in the northwest corner, so that area is now a part of us. They can check in and provide feedback on the geofence there, because what the shipper has seen is, hey, yeah, I've got this one broker that's coming to me, which is awesome. They're on top of it. They're using accurate geofences. I love it. Why don't I take that geofence and utilize that across other brokers or other areas too? Because it creates kind of a standard for them where they're like, hey, this geofence is by far the most accurate and the one that I want to make sure everyone's using to communicate with me. So it kind of creates a hub and spoke model for them as well to build on this standard for their facility of, hey, this is the right geofence. This is what we want to use. So no required involvement from a shipper, no required involvement from anyone outside of me and my or Kestrel Insights, if whoever's using us. But we are more than willing to bring in anyone who wants to contribute to the accuracy, contribute to using it. No restrictions there.
I feel like that has to be a huge value add that like a 3PL can sell on a shipper for like, okay, maybe we manage the West Coast for you, but you have, something in the Midwest and you have something on the East Coast. Like, hey, this is the enhancements we've done. And this is the, added visibility and other things that we've provided to you here on the West Coast. What if we bring all of this to your Central and your East Coast stuff? I feel like that has to be a pretty good way to add that value and increase business with that customer, because I know most customers use like 2 or 3 3PLs, or most large shippers use 2 or 3 3PLs to manage different parts of their network. So I feel like that has to be a really easy way to be like, hey, do your other 3PLs do this? Because we do, and we're better.
Yeah, and that's builds on kind of that comment of, of reputation and trust. I mean, hiring, renewing a contract, all that is, so much of it is reputation and like, do I trust you? Am I confident in what you're going to actually say you're going to do? And just showing these types of gains or these types of ways you're thinking about things. Absolutely. And because it allows you, as a broker, you're always trying to manage more loads, make sure, deliver the best service you can. This allows you to manage more loads effectively, at least manage the ones you've got on your plate as effective as possible. And that communication is just rock solid. So yeah, it's a huge foundation builder for a lot of the services these people offer. And that's just what we're here to help with. And I think being in kind of the smoky little data niche, we're not saying, hey, yeah, we're going to eliminate all these roadblocks and all these roadmap things for you. We're going to do this and that. Like it's so clear. It's like, hey, we're going to nail this one thing for you. Like it's clear as day. And so it's a pretty quick sales process of like, hey, this is what we do. I can show you how it works in the platform. If you want to go, let me know. We can do this today. So we really like that because it's a pretty quick, path to ROI for these people to see and to really implement and start like saying, hey, what's going on today? This isn't a 3-month, 2-quarter, rollout. This is tomorrow. So it's been great to see.
I absolutely love that, the speed part of it, because you'll have this thing and you're like, okay, yeah, we're going to start working with this person, but it's going to take us 3 to 4 months to get up to speed. And then maybe a couple more months of training and then figuring out if we're actually doing it. And then we're a year in this process. And what do we have to show for it other than the promise that our data will probably be better some way, somehow? Whereas this is just like, no, we're here, we're in, like, let's just get rolling. And I absolutely love that. On the other side of the coin, so I know we've talked about, the service and the value add that 3PLs can use this as for shippers. I think that makes sense. What about on the other side? Like if you have a shipper that has all these visibility tools and they decide to start partnering, I'm not sure how often that would actually happen. If a shipper had these great tools and started to partner with a 3PL that didn't, I would like to think that they would look for someone that has similar things. But hey, for the sake of the argument, what does it look like when a shipper has, these visibility tools and the 3PL is maybe a little bit more hesitant to get on board with it?
Well, yeah, in terms of the use case of kind of having the shippers using it in one area and wanting to bring it to other areas of the business, we do see that a lot. And one example, we were working with a shipper who had kind of their own internal fleet that brought like goods from their facility to it was like local bakeries and then also their own local suppliers, or they were kind of handling that localized process where they had, I think it was Motive or Samsara, they had some telematics system on there and they were using our integration with them for their own internal automation of geofencing. What they saw, but then were working with their brokers who then kind of took care of some of the national accounts that they were then shipping out to and some of the larger quantities there. They're like, okay, how can we transfer what we've already have in this automation of geofencing for both our own fleets and our own locations to these guys? And that's what's great about working with kind of a centralized data source like this is we don't care where you're plugging into it from, it's the same data. And so they absolutely were like, hey, you guys should, as our broker kind of clients, you guys should use this system that we already built our own notifications and visibility on top of, because A, we like it and we know it's helped our system. We know it's only going to do great things for you as well. So there's tons of kind of flexibility of where the data gets pulled to and where you want to use it, because for us, it's the same thing. So we do see a lot of that. across the board, in terms of kind of how they bring it with us. We're a huge word of mouth in terms of how we get referrals and how we kind of grow from that sense. It's a big part for us.
So you guys are basically that really good contractor in town that never advertises, never has anything, but is always busy because it just has that word of mouth that they do a good job, they get everything done. I kind of like that approach for you guys.
Yeah, no, that's a great comparison. And I think like I do come back to kind of the simplicity of it too, where it's like there is a little bit of a nuance and education piece we found in terms of just sometimes clarifying for people for like, hey, what exactly do you do? Because some people will say, oh, I've already got a telematics, or I've already got this. Like, I don't need this. I'm like, no, that's not what we do. And that's something we're always learning, is how do we continue to communicate truly what we do. But then once that's understood, it's like, hey, yeah, it's a pretty quick understanding of whether it's applicable or not for your business. But again, I said this at the beginning, if you're using geofencing today in any way, I can almost guarantee you're not doing it like this, which isn't a problem. You got the first step there, but this will be a value add. It's just how much you decide the value is. So it's always worth seeing kind of what we've built.
I absolutely like that. That's got to be, because it's like you said, if you're using geofencing, you understand the struggles. You're already managing those exceptions. You're already managing, you know the headaches that you have and how you wish it was almost a little bit better. Well, the solution to make it almost a little bit better.
And that's like we were talking with our kind of marketing team. We're like, hey, we're not selling to people. I'm not trying to sell people on the idea of geofencing. We're talking to people who are already using geofencing, know what it is, and know the value of it. And that's like one of the biggest things is if I'm only targeting that group, then I know that yes, you're using geofencing today, but this is on top of that. And so that's really been our kind of approach to it is, hey, if you're using geofencing today, we've built a company around knowing there's a way to grow kind of the way you're using it today and add value to the way you're doing it today. So it's been a fun process for sure.
I like it. Instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, you just shined it up and made it a little rounder so it can just keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't reinvent. Yeah, exactly. The wheel's there. I'm giving you a better tire.
All right. So we are running out of time, but there's a question everybody comes on the show has to answer. Are you ready for it?
I am. You do these unique ones. So let's go.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Is a hot dog a sandwich? I do. Well, the one thing last time was you guys like when I commit. No political answers in between. No, a hot dog is not a sandwich. And this is why I'm saying that. I think of sandwich as kind of a catch-all for like meatball sub, turkey sandwich, BLT. And I think hot dog is the same. Brat, ballpark frank, chili cheese dog. So no, it's different. It's separate.
Okay, so you went into the whole categories.
I'm thinking of it as like a category, yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's fair. I don't think I would go, and I would for sure never go get a brat, like a bratwurst, and like not have it with a bun. Yeah. And I would never call it a hot dog.
Which I think that's the way you do it in Germany. I don't think they do it in a bun.
No, they don't. No. You just kind of get the bratwurst and some fries, which the fries are impeccable. All right, I like that answer. I'm also team hot dog's not a sandwich, but I can see where those that are incorrect come from.
Well, I don't know. Well, I don't think we need to give them any credit. I don't see where they're coming from, but that's you can play the political card there.
There you go. All right, so if anyone wants to question your hot dog as a sandwich answer, or if they want to reach out about any kind of automated geofencing, where can they find you outside the show?
Yep, super easy to find us on. I'm easy to contact on LinkedIn. Just Lucas Shore, my last name Schorer, or Lucas@KestrelInsights.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Find Check Call the Podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, like Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to check out all the other incredible FreightWaves podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter on freightwaves.com/checkcall. See you on the internet.